who's like the safest playoff picks in 2025? Because you expanded 12 teams, and the frustration for some of us when the playoff decided to expand was, well, we go to 12 teams, you're automatically opening the door for 4 or 5 teams every year to kind of have a pretty clear path to get into the college football playoff. And so on the last episode, we unpacked a couple of teams that we think are pretty safe picks. I want to unpack that right now together on this show, The Hard Code, because I thought that segment was so strong. So again, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel, college football. Nothing but college football now, year-round. Get dialed in. Also, I just told you, podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get them, get locked in. A lot of good stuff over there, so appreciate y'all being a part of what we have going here. So I think when you talk about the safest playoff picks in 2025, I think Clemson's as safe a pick as there is. Because what still wins in modern college football? Yeah, coaching, sure. Quarterback play, absolutely. I think the key word you're looking for there is talent. Like a year ago, who was the most talented team in the sport? Ohio State. Who won the national championship? Ohio State. If you look at those really early mock drafts for next year's NFL draft, those first round projections are just littered with tiger paw prints, man. On top of that, you got a quarterback in Cade Klubnik. On top of that, you got one of the best head coaches in the sport in Dabo Swinney. Like, even if they lose to LSU, does Clemson, who's the other loss? Or, I'll say this, are there 2 more losses? And if there are, is it keeping Clemson out of the college football playoff? Because they made the deal last year at 9-3 by winning the ACC. And so the thing that I love about Clemson, outside of the fact that I think they're the most talented, outside of the fact that I think their schedule is pretty workable after LSU, I don't think they're going to have that toe stubbing moment in 2025. It's a veteran football team, dude. It's a quarterback back for his 3rd year with Cade Klubnik. It's a team that has the most returning production in college football. When you have that veteran presence, you tend to bring your best more often than not every single week. So I don't worry about the game at Louisville, which is going to be a Friday night kind of sneaky. I don't worry about going to Georgia Tech early on in the season, because I think with as talented as Clemson is, as a veteran as they are going to have their head on straight and handle business in games they're supposed to handle business. So even if they lose to LSU, I still think Clemson is a really good bet to make the college football playoff. Vegas has them at -140 right now. So Clemson feels like a safe pick to make the playoff, and we will, in fact, pick them to make the college football playoff here in 2025. Now, Texas, I think, is also a very safe pick to make the college football playoff. Do they have as much returning production as a Clemson? Absolutely not. But to me, I just think Steve Sarkisian, at this point in his career and at where he is right now and where he's pushed Texas to, I think he is tier 1 when it comes to trustworthiness and head coaches in college football. He will always have, from my estimation, the key ingredients. Quarterback, got to see what Arch Manning is, but given the pedigree, given what we've heard about him, feel pretty good. Line of scrimmage, I mean, I know they're replacing the line of scrimmage on the offensive side, but if Steve Sarkisian feels good, I trust him. They got multiple guys drafted in the NFL on the defensive side. I trust him. Winning culture. We said this on a previous show. The way that Texas has responded to moments since Steve Sarkisian has gotten there. Big win over Alabama, no letdown. All right, just the way they've pushed that thing culturally. I love the way they are at that level, and then the complacency that could sneak in that other teams maybe would have to deal with. I don't think Texas will have to deal with that because that's just what we've seen Steve Sarkisian teams to be so far at Texas. So Texas, I know the schedule is going to be what it is, but I trust Steve Sarkisian. I trust the way he's built that football team, and I don't see them losing more than 2 football games in 2025, if that many. Ohio State, best roster probably in college football around a new starting quarterback in Julian Sayin. Here's what it comes down to, man. Do you think that Ohio State will finish worse than 3-2 in this stretch? Texas, at Washington, at Illinois, Penn State, at Michigan. I don't see 3 losses there. I don't. Even last year, everyone's talking around the loss to Michigan and how it was inexcusable and Ryan Day's got an armed guard at his house and all that. And it's like, yeah, that was a crazy series of events and not something you want to repeat if you're Ohio State. But do we really think that they're going to lose more than 2 games given their schedule this year? And then going back to what I just said a second ago, even with how last year went, Ohio State hits the reset button, finds their footing in the college football playoff, become the best team in America, finish like the best team in America. and they had to win the national championship. It's still Ohio State. Like there's too much talent, I think, on that roster to think that they're not going to be a team that makes the dance, makes the 12. So Ohio State, minus 320 right now in Vegas to make the college football playoff. They will be in the dance, and feels like a pretty safe pick to have them in that group. Georgia is also, I think, a safe pick. Now, it's the SEC. It's a new quarterback, so there's some maybe uneasiness a little bit if you put them in your safest pick tier for the college football playoff. But what we just said about Ohio State is how I feel about Kirby Smart. It's still Kirby Smart. It's still the best coach in the sport. And I also think it's worth noting now, this is a Kirby Smart Georgia team that'll be a little bit more edgy than maybe they have been in the past, because if you notice the conversation around Georgia and the way it started to shift and evolve into a more of a question around Georgia, is Georgia still as good as Georgia has been? Hey, the 12-team playoff, and Kirby Smart, they lose their first playoff game. Like, there's just this conversation that seems to be just a little bit, I don't know if condescending is the right word, but doubtful probably is the word that I would use. That's ammo for Kirby. I mean, he's telling his team they're going to go 7-5 before they win the national championship, coming off a national championship. Like, if he needs any extra juice, he has it now. And also, all their toughest opponents, we look at the schedule, they're at home, outside of Tennessee. Like, you got Bama, Ole Miss, and Texas, all in Athens. One, that's a benefit to Georgia as a football team, period. But two, it's a benefit to Gunnar Stockton. You get to have the crowd at your back against your two toughest defenses in Bama and Texas, and then Ole Miss. Who knows what they're going to be with the portal, but I don't think they'll be an easy out by any stretch. So all that's to say, Georgia, I don't see a situation where they miss the college football playoff, even with it being the SEC. Kirby's not going to let that happen, for my money. Oregon at minus 260, also I think a very safe pick for the college football playoff. Even if you don't believe in Oregon, maybe this is your take. Hey, they lost Dylan Gabriel. Hey, they lost a lot of production. Evan Stewart's not going to play like JD. I saw the game against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, and that was enough for me to sell my Oregon stock. I'm not believing in Oregon in 2025. It's your prerogative. Do you really look at the Oregon schedule and see 3 losses? At Penn State, toughest one on there, for sure. They've recruited way too well to go 2-2 against Indiana, at Iowa, USC, and at Washington. Even if they lose the Penn State game, they'd have to lose 2 of those 4 for that to be the world they live in. I don't think that's going to happen. Again, they've stacked multiple top 10 classes since State Lanning's got there. They use the portal as well as anyone in college football. Marshall Malco, the GM out there, crushes it for them when it comes to composing their roster. Oregon will be in the college football playoff in 2025, and I think they'll be in there with some room to spare, for my money. Now, last one here is Penn State. And Penn State, I think you could argue, is maybe the safest along there with Clemson. I feel like, at least, to make the college football playoff. Joel Klatt said this before last season. If we had gone from the BCS to the 12-team playoff, I mean, Penn State would have it feels like reoccurring invitation to the college football playoff. They would have made, I want to say, close to double-digit college football playoffs had we been at the 12-team model. So what does that tell you? Penn State, consistently good, which we already knew that, but they consistently, and this is important, make their layups. Like Penn State, don't really lose teams they're not supposed to lose to. And everyone talks about James Franklin and big game James. They lose to Ohio State, lose to Oregon, whatever. It's not untrue, and that has been warranted in a fair, I think, label that has been earned by James Franklin. But if you're just making your layups, Penn State's probably 10-2 again in the college football playoff. And one more thing on the big game part of this. Everyone making jokes around the loss to Ohio State last year and the loss to Oregon, the loss to Notre Dame in the playoff, all that, it's well and good, whatever. Have your fun, have your punchlines. I hear you. Penn State's not that far off. Like, Penn State's not showing up to play Oregon and getting boat raced, or playing Ohio State and it's 34-0. Like, that's not the world Penn State's living in. Penn State is losing these games by a player or two here, a player or two there. There's some veteran presence back for Penn State, most notably at the quarterback position. I need to see it to believe it. That's how I feel about it. But if I'm a Penn State fan, I'd feel like this is the year we get over the hump. Is that the case? Remains to be seen, but I would be shocked. I'd be shocked if they didn't at least make the college football playoff. So safest playoff picks, Clemson, Texas, Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, Penn State. I don't see a world where those teams miss the college football playoff. So they will be in our official predictions for our playoff field, which will come out this month. But, I don't see a path or a situation, barring some wild, unforeseen injury for those teams, which you hope doesn't happen, where they miss the 12-team playoff. So a little bit of our field penciled in there. For those of y'all keeping track at home, that's right around half the field, actually, if you're keeping track at home. But the plot thickens. We'll have, again, our full playoff prediction for you this month. And it's here, man. College football season is here during the month of July. That's when it's all getting rolling, all getting started.